Okay, so let's start. Hariom everyone. We'll start with the chanting first. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatigam Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravasthamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinvannuti Siddhasadanam. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, so we shall start with the chanting of the Purush Sukta we were practicing. So we were doing the first part. So the first line, both of you can try the first mantra, you can say it, because then we'll go on to the next few lines. Yes, here we have Purush Suktam. So the first mantra we have done completely. I'll just chant it fully and let's see if you can do it in one go. Did we finish the first mantra completely, or is it we only did the second line? We did the second line, right?
Second line, yeah.
Manisha?
Hanji, second line, Papa.
Second line, no? Okay, so we'll do the third line now. Urdhvam jigatu bheshajam. That's how far we went, right? So we'll do the next line. I'll just chant the first mantra fully and then we'll go on to the second line. Om Tachayora Vrinimahe Gatum Yagyaya Gatum Yagyapataye Devi Swastirastunaha Swastir Manushebhyaha Urdham Jigatu Bheshajam Shamnu Astu Dvipade Sham Chatushpade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we'll chant the third line. You can both do one by one. Shamno Astu Dvipade. Shamno Astu Dvipade. George, try this then. Shamno Astu Dvipade.
Shanno astu dvipade.
Once more.
Shanno astu dvipade.
Yeah, they you have to take a bit higher. The tone has to go higher. Shamno Astu Dvipade.
Shanno astu dvipade.
Yes, okay, good. Manisha, you try. Next line. Shamno Astu Dvipade.
Shamno astu dvipade.
Right, good. Sham Chatushpade. George. Sham Chatushpade.
Shan chatushpade.
Once more.
Shan chatushpade.
Okay, good. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. George.
Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
So remember, this is a Visarg after Shanti. and after that there is a sh. So the rule is in Sanskrit, after the visarga, if there is a sa, then the sound has to be like double sh, right? So in both the visargas, you will have Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. The last one, there is no word after that, so Shantihi. So that way, Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. George, try once more.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Good, very good. Manisha, you do the full Sham Chatushpade and Om Shanti Shanti.
शम चतुष्पदे ओम
No, no, not
शांति
Chatushpade, nahi hai. Sham
हाँ
Chatushpade.
ओके
Hmm.
शम चतुष्पदे
Yes,
ओम शांति शांति शांति
very good, right. So do the full line together. I'll just go over the full line. Sham no astu dvipade, Sham Chatushpade, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. George, full line.
Shanu Vastu Dvipate Shan Chatushpade Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Good, very good. Manisha, full line.
शम नो अस्तु द्विपदे शम चतुष्पदे ओम शांति शांति शांति
Right, very good. Okay. Okay, so we resume the class on Nyaya Sutras. Today we are at the 34th Sutra. 33rd we had completed in the last class. So if I'll just go back to the 33rd Sutra so we can maintain the continuity, we can see what we were doing in the last class. So what does it say? Vyasakta manasaha pad vyathanena sanyog visheshena samanam. So this is 3 to 33. Nyaya Sutras, 3rd chapter, part 2, 33rd Sutra. 3 to 33. So 3 to 33, what does it say? Vyasakta manasaha pad vyathanena sanyog visheshena samanam. Right? So what they are trying to prove here? The opposition is trying to prove that if in any case, in which kind of case can the mind have a simultaneous cognition, two things happening at the same time, right? So we have proved in a series of sutras earlier that how the mind can cognize only one thing at a time. So now they are bringing in some special cases where something can be cognized at the same time. So two cognitions can happen at the same time, but we have seen that there is always a sequence to them. So what is the special situation here? Vyasakta manasa. Vi asakta manasa. Vi asakta manasa. So V plus A becomes Ya by Sandhi. So it is Vyasakta manasa. So vi asakta, Vishesh asakti. Some kind of special stimulus that is there. Where Pada Vyathanena. Something that is giving you a pain in your foot. Pada. Pada is the foot. So vyatha is some pain is received at the portion of the foot. So that is basically you can have you step on a stone or there is a thorn that pricks you. So then sanyog visheshena samanam. So then what happens is say at that time I am doing something like I'm say watching TV or maybe I'm walking with my mobile in my hand. I'm busy there. So my attention is got there and instantly the pain also occurs. So both things occurs simultaneously, right? So here the answer that is given later also and we saw earlier also that of course these kind of things happen where certainly one stimulus occurs. But then we are saying that when the attention goes to the pain, then the mind moves away from the thing that you were looking at. So here mainly the proposition is being given. So the simultaneousness of cognitions, they are trying to refute that something can happen simultaneously. The mind can have two or more cognitions simultaneously. Also, we'll look in the next few sutras. So I'll just give you a short review. So what we are going to prove here in Nyaya, what they say is that this special special kinds of vrittis or thoughts are there in the mind which prompt the mind to do some action. Huh? So we call them uh, ichha, dvesh, sukha, dukha. All of these are desire, aversion. So whether they are a property of the mind or they are the property of the soul. The soul here basically the reflected consciousness, not the complete total soul. Total soul is infinite. So in Vedanta also we have seen that the total soul being infinite and not divided into parts, therefore it cannot have any kind of desire, it cannot have any kind of volition or tendency to do action. Atma mein karm nahi hota. The soul does not have action. That we proved there. So here also they are accepting that uh, in the total soul there cannot be an action, but that is the total consciousness, that is original consciousness. But in the case of human beings, what does that total consciousness do? In the case of the world or the jagat, the consciousness projects a universe. How? With its Maya Shakti. So with its power, it is able to project this universe. So even though there is no change happening in the original consciousness, the world is projected. Just like in our dream also, we project a full new world, which also has no beginning and no end. It's cyclic. It has no beginning or no end. Similarly, the original consciousness also projects this world. So in this projection, what is the first thing? Maya Shakti. So Maya Shakti at the gross level is the total mind. At the individual level is the individual mind. So the individual mind functions through the body. So the individual mind functioning through the body, the reflected consciousness uh, helps to cognize everything. It is the one that powers everything. It is the one through which every knowledge, every activity happens. So there, what is the difference between the original consciousness and the reflected consciousness? The reflected consciousness comes into play when the mind is active. When the mind is active, then only it is reflecting the consciousness. And so that reflected consciousness along with the mind and the sense organs, the indriyas, it forms a combined entity which we call the Jivatma, or we can say the knower. So here a new term will be used just so that people might not confuse the total Atma with the individual. So individual. So what is the new term used here? You will see, I'll just scroll down and you can see 36 Sutra. What is the first word? Gyasya. Yes, sir. So the word we are using is the knower. The knower. So in Vedanta, they will criticize Nyaya, saying that in Nyaya, they say that Atma is having desire and Atma is having, volition or karm karne ki ichha, is whatever we say, the desire to do action. So these are being criticized, but Nyaya actually is talking in a different context. It is talking in the context that these things can happen only in a conscious entity. No, in jada, in mana, which is jada, in body, which is jada, there cannot be desire. The desire can prompt them to do action. Desire can prompt the mind to do action, but the mind is not the seat of desire. That is the slight difference in, presentation. Why? Because in Vedanta, the mind is considered as a separate entity. In Nyaya, the mind is considered as a total entity along with this reflected consciousness, the mind and the sense organs, they form this jiva, the jivatma, or in a more specific term is being used here, gyasya, the knower. So what is this knower? This knower is limited. He is cut off from the total knowledge of the total atma. He is limited to this body. He is limited to this mind. So this knower is to him, what is available? Only the knowledge that is available to this individual mind, our own mind, right? So our own mind is the knower in this case, along with the consciousness associated with it. Without consciousness, there cannot be any knowledge. And because it is limited, because it is not aware of its true nature as being unlimited because of this division, then it becomes limited. It feels limited, and that is why it has desires. Because when you are complete, then you don't need anything from outside to complete you. But when you are limited, you think you want something from outside to complete you, and that is what prompts action. उसी की वजह से कर्म होता है. The desire to attain something. अगर मेरे पास सब कुछ है, if I own everything, then I will not have any desire to do any work or do any action to get that thing, right? But that is in the case of the total Atma. But this is the deluded Atma, the Atma which is under the spell of Maya. So under the spell of Maya, it becomes the individual Atma or the lower. Yes, sir. So we'll just continue with the sutras. We'll go the meaning. So this vyasakta manasaha prad vyathanena sanyog visheshena. There is a sanyog vishesh. There is a special kind of connection. So this, when this happens, they say that it is not more than one cognition are taking place. So how do they refute it here? Okay. So we go into the next sutra 3 to 34. अगला सूत्र है 3, 2, 34. So 34th sutra, what does it say? प्रणिधान लिंग आदि ज्ञाना नाम अयुगपद भावात अयुगपद स्मरणम. प्रणिधान लिंगादि ज्ञाना नाम अयुगपद भावात अयुगपद स्मरण. So what is pranidhan? Pranidhan, I'll just go word by word and then we'll relate the meaning together. Pranidhan, adhanam, with something we base adhanam, so something that is the substratum of something. So whenever we just need to reach the core of something, we have to focus. So whenever we have to reach the base of something. So pranidhan, it represents a special effort by which you have to focus on something. It's an effort of attention. It is something that you need to focus on something. So it is the pranidhan represents the desire or the capability to focus on something. Then lingadi. There are certain indicators or certain, we can say, stimuli through which a memory is jogged or reiterated. So here, linga is different from the direct stimulus. Stimulus, here the meaning you can read is operations of stimuli is given for linga. So operation of stimuli is okay, it's correct in one sense, but these stimuli are all indirect stimuli. So there are so many indirect stimuli by which a knowledge can be jogged. So something that suddenly awakens a memory, like I see a certain person and I remember the good time I had with him in another place. So what is happening? A memory of another place is coming to me because I met a person. So what is the memory? It's not about the person. It's a memory of a place. It can be the reverse also. I go to a place. I had been there with my lover or my girlfriend or whoever. I had a wonderful time. And when I go there again those memories come. What a wonderful time we had there together. Right? Okay, so I should say wife because my wife is sitting beside me. Okay. So in this way, those memories come back. So in total, there are 27 such indicators. So for that, we'll have to go to the 44th sutra. I don't know if we'll reach there today, but I just mentioned here because it will come up later. This will be expanded. So pranidhan linga. So there are these two kinds of impacts you can see on the mind, through which the memory can be jogged, a certain memory can be recovered. So pranidhan linga adi jnana nam, the knowledge is jnana nam, ayukpad bhavat, ayukpad sparanam. Because they come one by one. Any memory, it requires one stimulus. That one stimulus, when it appears before us, it will bring forth a memory. वो हमारे अंदर एक नई स्मृति को बाहर लेके आएगा. Then another stimulus will come. It will bring another memory. So all these stimuli, what will happen? We can cognize only one at a time. The sense organs can focus on one at a time. So then when it sends that stimulus to the mind, then the memory will be jogged. So we have seen in the case of direct perception, we have seen that the direct perception will give you a lot of different knowledges. These also happen one at a time. Yugpat, non-simultaneous, one after the other. Because when your memory, when a memory is arising out of some kind of stimulus, which might not be a direct perception. So that is linga here. So the linga is the indirect stimuli, you can say. So indirect stimuli, कोई चीज ऐसी जिसके सीधा आपसे संपर्क नहीं है, something that is not directly connected to your perception. So that perception can arise within you, a memory that is not of this current time. So they can, because the stimulus are also non-simultaneous, ayukpat bhava, non-simultaneous. So there cannot be a simultaneous cognition. The cognition also has to be non-simultaneous. That is why the 33rd sutra, if you remember, what was said there? There is a memory, there is one perception of direct perception. I'm watching something, watching my mobile, or maybe just watching the trees around me while walking, and suddenly my feet hits a thorn, and that prick gives me a new knowledge that something has hurt me. But it will always be one after the other. Right? So if that is what is being said here, that all the stimuli will give you different knowledges, but one stimuli can give you one knowledge at a time. Then when that knowledge is gone, the other will come. It's not that they cannot stay. Oh, two things I'm watching, I can have alternate knowledges. And then we also saw what we call persistence of vision. So if I see 10 things in simultaneous, then I can cognize the whole thing as a complete picture. But the cognition will always be one after the other. So that is what is being said here. Pranidhan lingadi jnana nam ayukpat bhava ayukpat smarana. Then something that happens suddenly. That is the next sutra. So 3 to 35. 3 to 35. Prati bhavatu pranidhanadi anapekshe smarte yogpad prasangah. So prati bhavatu. Suddenly something happens that jogs the memory. So again, here is something similar to the 33rd only, that he said it is not that you can see the translation, and it is not true that. So it's not mentioned in the sutra. It's just an assumption from the previous one. So what does the sutra itself say? There is a possibility of simultaneousness in the case of recollections which are independent of the efforts of attention, etc., just as in the case of cognitions derived from impressions of equal vividness, not dependent on stimuli. So pratibhavatu, there is something that causes a sudden stimuli within us. So just like an example is given here in the what we call the bhashyam, there is an example given that some girl says suddenly that I think my brother will come tomorrow. I haven't met him for many days. So that is something that is a sudden memory, sudden kind of thought that comes to you when even the person who's going to come is not before you. But why has it come? It has come because of certain behavioral patterns that the mind is able to notice. So pratibhavatu, we have noticed also a lot of in our daily routine, or a lot of time it happens to us that we suddenly have an intuition that something is going to happen. Or not just an intuition. Sometimes we suddenly know we make some kind of connection or make some kind of calculation which appears amazing, that how we've done it so fast. Sometimes we are seeing a series of numbers. Even before punching that number in a calculator, my mind is able to give a calculation. I am not even able to, write down the whole thing. Even while writing down that sum, it will take more time, but the brain will give the answer quickly. How is it? That is pratibhavatu. Something that a sudden recollection happens. So what does it come from? It comes from, first of all, focus. And second, it comes from previous experience. So previous experience, previous practice. So if you've done a lot of multiplication problems earlier, then suddenly a very complex one you are able to solve faster than it would take time for you to write or even to explain by word of mouth. The speech will be slower than the mind. The mind is always faster. So in that, what happens is when this kind of sudden recollection occurs, it is being said here, pranidhan adi anapekshe. So then this pranidhan, this focusing of the mind is not required there. I'm not focusing my mind on that thought. Suddenly it's come, involuntary thoughts. So that in that he's saying that ayukpat jnana can come about. A certain certain simultaneous knowledge can come. It will not be the normal knowledge, which is like we say non-simultaneous, right? So this is being said here in the case of sudden recollections. It also happens to what we say, the higher realized beings. So what is happening there is, let's say in the case of the Rishi. So Nyaya also analyzes that. What does Nyaya say in the case of the Rishi? He says, yes, the Rishi can cognize higher thoughts, but yes, it is due to a lot of, sadhana and lot of devotion, but it is not miraculous. It is not miraculous. The mind is capable of so many things that we are not able to experience. So what happens? It is able to connect to the higher mind, the total mind, and that through that connection it is able to know more things. So what does that connection mean? The connection means the more we dissociate from the normal routine, the normal thinking, all the rest of us common people like us, we are bound by our desires, we are bound by our thoughts. I have to do this, I have to do that. But that Rishi, what happens? He is able to go into samadhi very easily. Why? Through practice. He understands uh, the non-permanent nature of the universe. And so he does not get caught up in any of the things in the universe. So when he's there, then suddenly those thoughts happen. And through that thoughts, he's thinking of the thoughts about a higher entity. And he's able to analyze and tell the more vivid details about, let us say, the original reality, Brahman or whatever. So when he is thinking or meditating on that, he is able to tell a lot about the true nature of the whole universe, how it is projected out of that Brahman. So his mind is in that state, right? And there the total universe, the total mind connects to him, and he is able to, uh, derive knowledge from there. But that is not available for common people. So in this way, all this, I've gone into more detail, but this Pratibhavatu represents all this kind of knowledge. So he's saying that these can be sudden or non-simultaneous. They can come together at the same time. So we'll just move to the next letter to see what the answer is given for this. So Pratibhavatu pranidhan adi anapekshe smarte yogpat prasangah. So now we are analyzing what is the cause for all of these knowledges. I gave you a short background. What happens to the Rishi? He is able to control his desires. So his mind is able to go into higher thoughts more easily. But for common people, what propels them, what drives them, it is desire and aversion. So rag and dvesh, rag or dvesh. So yeah, ichha dvesh, the word is being given here. Ichha dvesh is something that drives us. So यस्य इच्छा द्वेष निमित्तत्वात् आरंभ निवृत्तयोः. So gyasya is the knower. Gya is the knower. Gyasya, the sixth case, singular. So of the knower. Gyasya का, जानने वाले का, if you say in Hindi, जानने वाले का, gyasya. Gyasya इच्छा द्वेष, the desire and aversion belonging to the knower. So gyasya is knower, but the translation here says soul. So you can take it as the actual word, because that gives a clear picture of what Nyaya is talking about when we are talking about the knower. He's not talking about the total soul. He's talking about the individual soul as related to the mind under Maya. So he is thinking of himself as an individual, something limited being, not an unlimited Atma. So this is the difference. So gyasya ichha dvesh nimittatvat arambha nivrittayoho. So whenever we saw in the previous sutra that these sudden knowledges, they can happen together. But here he's saying that no, that sudden knowledge can happen, but there has to be certain stimulus for that knowledge, and that stimulus has to come from within the Atma, within the individual soul, which consists of Ichha and Dvesh. So Ichha and Dvesh will make us to do something or not do something. So that is called Arambha. So Arambha is to start doing something, and Nivrittaya is not to do something. So both of them, to do or not to do, that depends on our Ichha and Dvesh. So sometimes when my desire is very strong, I want to really enjoy this special food, pani puri or whatever. Let's say a special kind of chicken is available somewhere. Someone has non-veg then uh, the person will have an ichha or desire to go there, but that desire might not cause him to action. Sometimes he'll say, if I could order it in, but no, the option is not available. So then maybe he will not eat. But if the desire is strong enough, then he will be prompted to do action. So our ichha and dvesh, they prompt us to do action. If they are not strong enough, then they will not make us do action. And sometimes nivritti also means in the sense that we realize the futility of all kind of action. So we don't, like in the case of when we have the true knowledge, Atma Jnanam, then nivritti happens. Huh? We stop thinking of ourselves as the doer. We think of the body and the mind as the doer. So there also action is happening, but the soul or the individual is not taking responsibility for that action. So when the knower, the gesture, has any kind of ichha and dvait, has any kind of desire and aversion, they become the nimittam, they become the cause. Cause for what? Doing an arambha or nivritti, doing an act or forbearing from doing the same, doing something or not doing something. Right? So in other systems, we have a different knowledge, different way of saying things like in Sankhya, knowledge is considered a quality of the soul, the Gyan, Atma ka gun hai, but desire, aversion, volition, pain, they are given as the qualities of the mind. So in Nyaya, we say that this knowledge, in a different way, we say that we are postulating a knower, a knower. So the knower only can have desire because what is the difference? The mind and the sense organs, they are jada. They do not have any activity of their own. What is the definition of jada? Swatah pravritti nasti. If you have any notes from Tattva Bodha, or maybe if you're written down, then I gave you the definition. What is Jada? Swata Pravritti Nasti. It has no volition of its own, no activity of its own. It needs someone or something to make it do any action. So that is the Jada. So that Yasya will have the desires, Ichha and Dvesh, right? So Dvesha or hatred will or aversion will basically cause us to stay away from someone or stay away from doing something, right? So if some activity is given to me, like maybe even someone doesn't like to read books and he's asked to read a book, or someone is asked to study a subject that they don't like, sorry. So when that subject is given to them, they will have an aversion for that and they will try to, avoid reading it till the maximum possible. So these two factors are the ones that prompt us to do any action, or their absence or just aversion itself, it will cause us to stop doing that action. So next sutra we say, what does it say? 3 to 37. 3 to 37. Tat lingatvad ichha dveshyoho parthivaadishu apratishedah. So in this case, where is the seat of that ichha and dvesh? So tat lingatvat ichha dveshyoho parthivaadishu apratishedah. So it cannot, some say, be denied that desire and aversion belong to the body inasmuch as they are indicated by activity and forbearance from activity. So mostly, what is the logic given? Like the Charvakas, the one who do not believe in the Vedas and who believe only the body is real, nothing else is real. So they say that activity and forbearance from activity, pravritti and nivritti, are cause you to desire and aversion. And since the pravritti and nivritti, where do they reside? They reside in the body. So where does the pravritti and nivritti happen? The body does the pravritti and nivritti. Action and inaction depend on the body itself. So they say that if something belongs to the body, like activity and inactivity, then so according to that, then the desire and aversion should also belong to the body. So if something belongs to one particular entity, and there is another thing that is prompting that activity, then both should belong to the same. So what is the chain of logic? The chain of logic here they are giving is that when any activity is done, who does the activity? The activity done by the body. So activity and inactivity, they're done by the body. So that means activity and inactivity belong to the body. Then what prompts that activity? Ichha and Dvesh. You are saying, you agreed in your previous sutra, Ichha and Dvesh are prompting that activity. That means if Ichha and Dvesh are prompting, that means they must also have the same adhanam, the same source, the same substratum. So the body should be the substratum. So this one is tackled in, this logic is tackled in two examples in the next two sutras. We'll look into the next two. So basically, we have to refute that the desire and aversion, they do not belong to the body or even the mind. So we take the example of something outside the body. So we take the example of axe. What does it say? 3 to 38. Yeah. Parashva Adishu. So it's Adishva, it's Adishu, it will become, if you break the Sandhi, then Arambha. So U plus A becomes Va by Eco Yanachi rule if George is studying still Sanskrit. So Parashva Adishu Arambha Nivritti Darshanas. So Adishu, the end U will become in combination with the next A, will become Va. So you can see it normally also. Sandhi is no magic. Sandhi is something that if you say two things together, that is how it will sound. So Parashva Adishu and Arambha, if you say quickly, then Parashva Adishu Arambha. That is how it will happen if you keep saying it continuously. So that is the logic. So Parashva Adishu Arambha Nivritti Darshanat. So activity and forbearance from activity are found in the instruments that we use. So here we are using Parashva or the axe. So we are using an axe to cut a tree. So if you are using an axe to cut a tree, does the pravritti and nivritti seen in the axe? The axe is able to cut the tree and is also able to not cut the tree, right? So what is the instrument? What is the cause for which that activity is dependent on? That cause has to be a conscious entity, a conscious body. A body has to give. So if I am putting enough effort into the axe and using it to cut the tree, then only the tree will be cut. If I'm not putting any effort to that, or even if I'm not even using the axe, then it is lying on the ground and I'm not using it. So Parashva or the axe will not be able to do any pravritti, or it will be in the state of nivritti. It will be in the state of inaction. So that axe will not be able to do the job of cutting the tree. So in this way, we can see that an instrument can never be conscious. An instrument also cannot be the holder of desire and aversion, or ichha or dvesh. So when all of these are understood, then we can see clearly that if we can, when we are applying this to the axe, we can also apply the same to the body also. The body also an instrument, an instrument of what? The soul, the Atma, and it is also just like the mind also is an instrument. So what is an instrument? The instrument is always jada. The instrument is always karanam, is the name for an instrument. What's the picture? Karan is the name of the instrument. Karan is what an instrument is called. So a Karan is always jada. So mind and body being only the instruments of the conscious entity or the conscious Atma, the conscious individual being, Jivatma. So the consciousness has to prompt the mind and body to do action. Therefore, the body cannot be the source of or the abode of the Ichha and Dvesha. Ichha and Dvesh cannot belong to the body. That is clearly proved from the example of the axe, right? On the example of the axe, we prove that. So we go to the next one. So an axe is something that can move at least. But there are more you can say jada items like a pot. So there what is happening? Kumbhadishu api. So kumbhadishya anuplabde. So kumbhadishu anuplabdehe hetu. Again the ya is coming because of sandhi. So kumbhadishu anuplabdehe hetu. So what happens when we take the case of something totally motionless like the pot? The pot also there is activity. What is the activity? Earlier it was just a mass of sand or mud. No, it was a mass of sand or mud. So this sand or mud is then shaped into the pot by using water and different. So who is there? There again a conscious entity is available who is able to convert that pot into the shape that we see. So there also we can see clearly that uh, in the kumbha there is activity and there is pravritti and there is nivritti. There is activity and there is किसी ने बनाया है हाँ किसी ने बनाया ना तो एक्टिविटी तो कुंभ में हो रही है कुंभ चेंज हो रहा है ना कुंभ माने घड़ा 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 चेंज हो रहा है मिट्टी चेंज हो रही है मिट्टी चेंज होकर घड़ा बन रहा है द मड इज कन्वर्टिंग इनटू द पॉट but the pravritti and nivritti is not there in the ghada pravritti is nivritti in the the ichha and dvesha are not in the mud in the they are in the potter पॉटर की इच्छा है कि मैं एक घड़ा बनाऊं इट इज द पॉटर्स डिजायर टू make a pot. Yeah. So from that the pot is happening. So even though the pravritti and nivritti are happening in the mud and in the pot, so when it is mud there is nivritti, when it is pot there is pravritti. So they are happening in that jad vastu, but who is the cause? Has to be a conscious cause. There has to be a kumhar who will make the kumbha. So the kumhar, the potter or the maker of the pottery, he is the one who will be there. So where is the ichha dvesh residing there? In the potter. It's not there in the pot. So there also clearly the demarcation is what was the original argument? The Charvak is saying that the mud or the body is the substratum of activity and desire. Pravritti and nivritti. So activity and inactivity. Activity and inactivity. So therefore, because activity and inactivity happen due to ichha and dvesh, that means ichha and dvesh should also belong to the body because they are connected. But we are clearly able to show that the connection is not does not mean that they belong to the same entity. So there is a connection between the ichha and dvesh of the acts, between the activity and inactivity of the axe and the ichha and dvesh of the axe wielder, the one who's using the axe to cut a tree. Same thing with the potter also. The potter is the pot is being made by the potter. So the pot has pravritti and nivritti. It has activity and inactivity. But the ichha and dvesh by which the pot is made, so the desire by which the pot is made, it belongs to the potter. It belongs to the potter.
जी का कुंभ भी बना सकता है यानी आप
It can be again. So the final shape will depend on the potter. So obviously,
इसकी इच्छा अनिच्छा पे डिपेंड करती है
so the conscious entity will always have the ichha dvesh. The non-conscious thing will not. So that is the position of Nyaya. Nyaya is proving that the ichha and dvesh belong to the gyasya, to the knower, to the gyata. Which kind of gyata? The limited gyata, the one who is not aware of his true nature as infinite, who thinks he is just the consciousness functioning through the body. Right? So that deluded knower can only have activity because the infinite will never have activity. He doesn't need to have any activity. He cannot have any activity because everything is within him. He cannot even move. The infinite cannot move. It's everywhere. Nothing for it to move. So in the Ishavasya Upanishad, there is the mantra. It says that na ejati, na tad ejati, na tad na ejati. It can move and it cannot move. Because it is everywhere, so the Atma cannot move and it cannot also not move. Because it being everywhere, it does not need to go anywhere. Not move. It means it does not need to go anywhere because it is everywhere. So in this way, here also, a desire and aversion can only belong to a conscious entity, but that conscious entity has to be deluded. It has to be not aware that consciousness is infinite. Consciousness is infinite, we have proved many times. But what happens with the Jivatma? The Jiva doesn't know the consciousness is infinite. He has not focused enough. He has not read the Shastra. The one who has read the Shastra will not be deluded, right? Even after reading, some people stay deluded, like me, but still, because it takes a lot of practice to, get the knowledge and make the knowledge your own. There is a huge series of steps when you get the knowledge and then you make the knowledge firm in your mind. That firmness comes from daily practice. So you do it like every day I have to remember once that I am the Atma. So I am not the doer. I am not the one who's doing actions. I am not, I don't need anything outside of me. Whatever they need is the need belongs to the body. The body will do whatever it wants. So I should not get upset by that. That is a thought I have to repeat myself daily whenever I wake up. Then again, I have to repeat maybe twice, 4 times, 10 times, 100 times. And so that it becomes a constant knowledge. It becomes a constant knowledge all the time. It should be there. Even while sleeping, I go to sleep. Why do we do the meditation early in the morning? Why do we do the meditation early in the morning? When we like in our Shastra, we have 3 days, 3 times. Manisha, you know, na? 3 बार का part.
3 time का पाठ.
3 time ka part. So why is that 3 time ka part there? Why? Because at night, whatever the thoughts are there that have taken you away from your true nature, the thoughts that have disturbed you, examine them, listen to them, hear them out, and say, and you calm them out. No, you don't need to be worried. You are the infinite soul. Whatever is happening happens to the body. Whatever is happening is temporary. Whatever is disturbing you has come today, it will go away soon. You have to just look at the solution from a higher viewpoint. And then what happens then? When all those disturbing thoughts you have calmed down, you go to sleep very peacefully. Very peacefully you go to sleep, right? And then the meditation you do in the morning after waking up, say about 6 to 10, then what is the purpose of that meditation? That yes, the thoughts that I'm going to have during the daytime, they should all be guided by that knowledge. They should all be guided by that knowledge. So I practice that knowledge in the morning that I am infinite. I am that Atma. I am unlimited. I do not have any action. All the actions again, all the same thing I repeat to myself again and again. I observe myself. I observe my true nature. And that knowledge, when it is fixed, the day goes also with least disturbance. Depends on how strong my meditation was. Then the meditation early in the morning, say around 4 o'clock. What happens? I try to keep a time when I wake up in the middle of the night. Not just middle of the night, maybe towards dawn. So towards dawn, I wake up. And then again, I focus that during my sleep, did any thoughts, did any dreams disturb me? Those dreams are also transient. So just like those dreams are transient, the whole universe in front of me also is the same nature only. Why do I get worried? So slowly, the dream state also will become imbued with that knowledge of the Atma. So that is why we do that early morning one. So when after that you can go to sleep also. So what happens? It is quelling all the thoughts that why do we dream or why do we have disturbing dreams? Because during the day we had some experience that hurt our mind. But sometimes that can be from the previous day or even a month ago. So when I do that early morning meditation, those thoughts also are calmed down. And those thoughts are also, they go away. When I remind my mind of my own true nature. I know it very well. I've heard it so many times from Shastra. I've heard from the Guru Mukha. I've heard it from my own meditation internally that I am infinite. But do I practice that? No. So till I get the full practice, I have to keep on doing abhyasa, abhyasa, abhyasa. The 6th chapter, Arjuna listens to the Lord say, what happens to my mind? This mind is very, very balshali, pramathanshil. So how do I control that? How do I control that? He says, there is only one way to repeat the knowledge again and again. Whatever the knowledge you have learned, repeat it again and again and again till it becomes firmly established in your mind. So we move on to the next one. kumbhadishu anuplabdehe ahet. So 3 to 40. Niyam aniyamo tu tad vishesh eko. So he says, so in the case of the inactive matter and the active soul, there is a demarcation. Niyam and aniyam. So a material thing, so whatever is matter is inactive. But what happens to the matter when it is acted upon by a conscious agent? Their activity comes into play. So there, जब भी कोई जड़ चीज होती है उसमें कोई क्रिया नहीं होती है. Whenever something is of the nature of non-movement, or it is the nature of non-conscious, then there is no activity within it. उसमें कोई कर्म प्रवृत्ति नहीं होती है. But where does pravritti happen? It happens in a conscious entity, the soul, the atma, or any conscious entity. So when this conscious entity is there, it makes any non-conscious thing do activity. है ना? हम उसको करवाते हैं. So what is happening is, in the case of the on the non-conscious jad vastu में क्या हो रहा है? There is niyam. It stays in its place. Whatever is happening is going to happen according to the laws of nature. So there the niyam is there. Rule is there. It is following the rule of the nature. But when a conscious entity comes into play, it breaks the niyam. Aniyam aa jata hai. It can make the thing. I can carry a bucket of water up a hill. Water naturally should flow down, but the conscious being can carry up. So conscious being can go aniyam. He can do aniyam. He can break the laws of nature, or he can, modify the laws of nature. So that is why we are saying that Ichha, Dvesh, Adi, they help us modify the laws of nature, change the laws of nature, or go against the laws of the nature. So what does Shastra teach us? When we align our thoughts with the laws of nature, then we feel less of obstacle or obstruction. Right. Whenever we go up a hill, we are facing obstruction. Why? We are going against the laws of nature. So the more and more we align to the nature, the more and more we go along the nature, nature also goes along with us. Nature also helps us. So the desire and aversion that we had mentioned in Kumbhadishu, there we have seen they belong to desire and aversion belong to the conscious entity, the potter. And whereas the pravritti and nivritti, activity and inactivity, belong to the kumbha, the mud or the pot. But in the case of human beings, if we can say, when we are interacting with nature, then niyam and aniyam happen. So there also we can see the same thing. Pravritti and nivritti. They being there in the non-conscious jada vastus, we can change. We can change their normal course of action. And so what changes the normal course of action? What changes the normal course of action? So the change of the normal course of action is brought about by desire and aversion. Desire and aversion. Ichha dvesh se hota hai. So ichha and dvesh must belong to the soul. It must belong to the jivatma, the limited soul, the gyasya, the knower. So the knower is the abode of the ichha and dvesh, desire and aversion. All these are possible only if a conscious entity is holding them, because then only it can bring about a changes. It can bring about a niyam in the prakriti. Niyam, aniyam. So niyam belongs to prakriti, aniyam belongs to the conscious entity. It can change that. So therefore, this answers the objection that ichha and dvesh can be residing in the body. So it proves that the ichha and dvesh belong to the conscious entity or the jivat, right? So we will go and prove the same thing for the mind also. Right now we were doing about the body, but today I think we are out of time. It's already 5 o'clock. So we'll wind up for today and we'll continue this in the next class. Any questions today? Any doubts? Anything was unclear? Manisha, George, you are some.
Nothing in particular.
All fine?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, then I think we'll wind up for today. Someone has asked some more questions there. Um, okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om. Okay, we end the clubhouse discussion. Okay, then. All fine today, Manisha, George?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, then, all of you, thank you for coming. Really had a good class today, I think. And hope you have both have a wonderful day and a wonderful week ahead. God bless you both. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.